In downtown Chicago, there's a series of interconnecting tunnels which is called the Pedway. Now, I'm not an expert on this, but I know someone who is. Margaret's going to take us on a tour and explain to us the culture and story which is behind the Pedway.
I started my own business 7 years ago, almost to the day, and I started with the Pedway tour. This was my first tour I thought up. Nobody was giving Pedway tours. Nobody had ever given a Pedway tour before. I was amazed that there was even a part of the city that no one was talking about. Nobody really knows about it. Like even people today on the tour, I've lived here my whole life. No one told me about the Pedway. And like I think in Calgary, in Minneapolis, and Toronto, everybody uses their Pedway. There's nobody that does not know about their Pedway system. And here in Chicago, I would hazard even most people don't know about it. They call it 40 blocks, which in Chicago, every 8 blocks is a mile. So if you've got 40 blocks, they're calling it 5 miles. And again, it's kind of a messy 40. It's a little bit like a labyrinth, so you have to backtrack and there are dead ends to it. It connects over 60 buildings and over 200 businesses to each other. So you can find anything from hotel to retail to condo to office building to government building to nail salon. I mean, it's really got everything you need. It's mostly just in the Loop area. There are a few small sections of Pedway on the north side of the river and on the west side of the river, but it's primarily just located in Chicago Loop area. What happened when I started giving tours after a couple of years is I started seeing people over and over and over again. And then I started introducing myself to these people. And then I started saying hi to them. And then sometimes they give me things or something about the Pedway, or they tell me something they know about it. And so my thought was that there is a culture here. And there are a community of people who work in the Pedway, and we know each other in the Pedway, and I don't see these people outside. I see them in the Pedway. We say hi, we exchange information. And then the fact that it changes from building to building. So just like a block, or the city does. This block looks totally different than this block, and this is a whole different neighborhood than this, and it has its own feelings and its own rules, and it looks differently. This fits as a neighborhood and as a community. One of the great sections of it is under City Hall, in the Pedway under City Hall. That's where Marriage Court is. So when you go get married at City Hall, you're getting married in the Pedway. So this thing of like important stuff is happening in there. People are getting married in there. There's a Starbucks in the courthouse, and they built a little sidewalk cafe, but it's in the Pedway. So there's a little place where you can leave the Starbucks and sit outside, but inside, and it's the courthouse. And I keep thinking there are lawyers having meetings there. They're deciding important things about people's lives in the Pedway. So with the Chicago Pedway, you need to have some kind of base level knowledge, I think, just to even find it, just to get in there. You have to know a little first. So go to the Macy's and go into the basement and ask somebody in Macy's where the Pedway is. It's very distinct in there. It's very different looking. It's right connected to the train. So you can just come right off the train and go into Macy's. So I feel like most people who have been down there have been in that section. I think the Chicago Pedway makes you work for it a little bit. The Pedway here is not just going to give it up for you. You gotta sweet talk it a little. If it's going to be a community and a relationship, then you have to give it the same patience and time and energy, that you would give to anything else. I guess that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, would you say you're a better Chicagoan for knowing how to use the Pedway?
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh, yes. And a much better tour guide. Much better tour guide for knowing about the Pedway. Yeah, absolutely. And a better Chicagoan.